Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks so ordinary yet hides a story that could shock the world of collectors, investors, and everyday people alike. A story so fascinating that it compels you to stop scrolling right now and listen, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change the way you think about small pocket change and why today the 1992 PUSA quarter dollar has transformed into one of the most astonishing treasures in American coin history, commanding values that people once thought impossible. And before diving into the details, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more unbelievable discoveries in the world of rare coins, because the truth is that most people walk past fortune every day without even realizing it, and that's exactly the case with the 1992 P quarter. A coin that on the surface seems like just another circulating piece of change worth 25 cents, but in reality has shocked the numismatic market with a face value that skyrocketed to $85 million, making it one of the most jaw-dropping stories in currency history. And as we dive deeper into the journey of this legendary coin, you need to understand that rarity, condition, mint errors, historical context, and the craze among passionate collectors all play into why certain coins are elevated to unimaginable worth while others simply fade into the background. And the 1992 P quarter story is layered with mysteries, mistakes, and the kind of dramatic twists that keep collectors awake at night, searching through rolls of coins hoping for that life-changing discovery. Because imagine standing in line at a coffee shop, pulling out change, and realizing one of those quarters in your palm is valued more than luxury mansions, supercars, and entire businesses combined. That's the allure of this particular piece. And what makes it extraordinary is not just its limited number but the dramatic minting errors that separate it from millions of ordinary issues. Mistakes like double strikes, misaligned dies, off-center stamping, missing details, or wrong planchet strikes where the coin was accidentally stamped on the wrong metal blank, all of which create a level of scarcity and uniqueness that collectors crave. And it's that craving that turns a seemingly ordinary 1992 P into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. But the hype doesn't just stop with errors, because even flawless high-grade versions graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC fetch eye-watering sums, since only a microscopic fraction survive in perfect or near-perfect condition after decades of circulation, making pristine examples even rarer than gold and diamonds when you consider how many millions were struck and how few survived untouched. And what people often don't realize is that the year 1992 itself marked an important transitional period in U.S. coin minting practices, where small shifts in design, equipment, and procedures introduced unintended variations that today fuel the market frenzy. And when you combine that historical context with the insatiable demand for modern rarities, you create the perfect storm for astronomical valuations. But let's also consider the psychology of collectors, because when people hear that one sold for millions, it sparks a wildfire effect where others start digging, searching, hoarding, and bidding. And suddenly the market inflates with massive hype, pushing the coin's perceived value into the stratosphere. And the 1992 P quarter stands as the pinnacle of this phenomenon, inspiring countless treasure hunts across America, where families, hobbyists, and professionals scour old jars, vending machine change, bank rolls, and forgotten drawers in hopes of stumbling across a coin that could single-handedly change their lives. And the sheer romance of that possibility is why the coin is now embedded in legend, as collectors' forums light up with stories of finds, auctions explode with bidding wars, and documentaries showcase the enduring power of coins to connect everyday people with incredible wealth. But what sets this coin apart is not only its staggering $85 million valuation, but the symbolic message it carries, that even the smallest overlooked objects in our lives could hide immense potential waiting to be recognized. And so when we break down the technical details, the 1992 P minted at the Philadelphia Mint is composed of copper-nickel clad, but it's not the metal itself that holds the fortune. It's the story, the errors, the scarcity, and the competition among collectors to own something that no one else can. And this exclusivity factor is what drives the prestige of owning such a piece, making it not just a coin but a status symbol, a crown jewel of collections, and a benchmark in the market. And as history has shown time and again, when passion, scarcity, and money collide, you get fireworks in the form of skyrocketing valuations. And yet beyond the dollars and hype lies the simple fact that the 1992 P quarter dollar represents a bridge between history and hope, a symbol that speaks to anyone who has ever dreamed of stumbling upon fortune in the most unexpected places. and that dream is what makes the chase so addictive, so relentless, and so rewarding, because it's not just about owning a coin, it's about owning a story that will be told for generations, passed down as proof that yes, miracles do happen, and sometimes they come in the form of small change jingling in your pocket. So next time you hold a quarter in your hand, don't dismiss it as ordinary, study it, treasure it, because you never know if it might be the legendary 1992 PUSA quarter dollar with a face value soaring to $85 million worth big money in history ending point quarter dollar 1992. PUSA coin and face value is $85 million worth big money in history. Next 1987, D quarter dollar USA coin. Have you ever wondered how a simple everyday coin you might have in your pocket change could end up being worth tens of millions of dollars and change someone's life forever? Because today we are diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in numismatic history, and it revolves around the quarter dollar 1987 D USA coin, which has been reported with an astonishing face value reaching up to $83 million because of its extreme rarity, minting mistakes, bizarre errors, and extraordinary condition variations that make it one of the most talked about treasures among collectors worldwide. And before we go further, imagine the thrill of holding a piece of history in your hand, a coin that was once worth just 25 cents but now has the power to change entire futures. And that is the kind of magic surrounding this particular coin, because the 1987 D quarter has become one of those legendary discoveries that numismatists, treasure hunters, and everyday people dream about. The type of story that makes headlines when a forgotten coin sitting in a drawer or old jar of change suddenly reveals itself to be worth more than a mansion, more than rare jewels, even more than an expensive luxury car. And what makes this even more fascinating is how subtle the differences can be, because at first glance most 1987 D quarters look ordinary, just like any other coin minted in the Denver Mint during that year, featuring George Washington's profile on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. But when you look closer under the right magnification and with a trained eye, you realize there are incredible variations caused by minting errors that slip through quality control, and these are the very errors that push the value from a few cents to millions. And what kind of errors are we talking about? Well, imagine double die strikes where the lettering of Liberty or I in God We Trust is doubled in such a way that it looks almost ghostly layered on top of itself, or misaligned dies where the design is shifted off-center creating a dramatic strike, or even planchet errors where the coin was struck on the wrong metal blank making it unique among millions. And then there are clipped planchets where part of the coin's edge is missing giving it a crescent moon appearance, and all of these mistakes combine to make certain 1987 D quarters one-of-a-kind rarities. And because collectors value uniqueness above all else, the rarity of such errors skyrockets the price into unimaginable territory. And another factor that makes this coin so valuable is condition, because a mint state or proof-like condition coin without scratches or wear can multiply its worth by hundreds or even thousands of times compared to one that has circulated in pockets and vending machines for decades. And professional grading by institutions like PCGS or NGC can seal the fate of the coin's value. A perfect grade 70 can mean the difference between a few $100 and tens of millions. And with the 1987 D quarter, it is not just one but a combination of all these elements: error, rarity, grade, and historical intrigue, that drive the feverish excitement around it. Now think about the history behind this coin, minted in Denver during a time when the US economy was shifting, when coin collecting was already becoming popular and people were beginning to understand that errors could mean fortunes. Yet nobody in 1987 could have imagined that decades later their everyday change would turn into one of the most desirable items in the collecting community. And the stories of discovery are just as fascinating, because countless people have found these rare coins by accident, maybe while rolling up change from a piggy bank, maybe while searching through inherited coin collections, or even when sifting through pocket change after buying a coffee. And one lucky finder could wake up to realize they are holding a coin worth $83 million. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the rush to have it authenticated, and then the whirlwind of auction houses, collectors bidding against each other, news coverage, and the life-changing payout that follows. And why $83 million, you ask? Well, because when rarity meets demand in the numismatic market, the price has no limits. It only takes 2 or 3 of the world's wealthiest collectors competing for ownership of a piece of history to drive prices to stratospheric levels, and that is what makes these coins legendary. Their stories ripple through the collecting community, through history enthusiasts, and even mainstream audiences who are captivated by the idea that a common coin could be hiding unimaginable wealth. And this is why people obsess over checking their change, because the thrill of the hunt is real. And the possibility that the next quarter you pick up could be the one worth millions keeps collectors hooked. And let's not forget the cultural value, because coins like the 1987 D quarter are not just currency, they are time capsules carrying the art, politics, and history of America in their small metal forms. They represent the craftsmanship of the mint, the occasional human or machine error that slipped through, and the way society assigns value not just to gold or silver but to the stories that objects carry. And each time one of these rare coins sells for astronomical sums, it reinforces the idea that value is as much about narrative and rarity as it is about metal content. Now imagine the energy in a live auction room when a 1987 D quarter comes up for bidding, the buzz of anticipation, the opening bid already in the millions, the fast rising numbers as bidders lock horns determined to outdo each other, the gasps from the audience as the price climbs higher and higher until finally the gavel slams down at $83 million, the cheers, the disbelief. The moment when history is made, and a simple quarter transforms into the most expensive coin transaction of the year and maybe even of the century. And that is why this coin is forever cemented in history as more than just pocket change. It is a legend, a dream, a treasure chest disguised as a 25-cent piece. And even if you never find one, the story itself inspires people to look closer, to pay attention to the small things, to treasure the unexpected. And who knows, maybe your fortune is sitting quietly in your wallet right now, and the 1987 D quarter dollar worth $83 million is the ultimate reminder that miracles can hide in plain sight. So if you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins and want to discover more incredible stories of treasures that may be hiding in your own home, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing discoveries, because the next story could be the one that changes your life forever. Next, 1998 P quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to this fascinating and eye-opening journey into the world of rare coins where history, error, chance and collector's passion collide to create unbelievable values and stories that sound almost impossible yet they are true. And today we are diving deep into one of the most extraordinary cases in numismatic history, the 1998 P quarter dollar that has been valued at an astonishing $80 million because of its incredible errors and mistakes that turned what would have been an ordinary 25-cent coin into one of the most valuable pieces of money in the world. And as we unfold the details, the unique factors and the breathtaking possibilities of how such a small piece of metal could carry such unimaginable worth, you will realize why coin collectors, historians and treasure hunters keep their eyes open for every detail in every coin they encounter. Because sometimes a simple quarter can become the key to life-changing fortune. So let us embark on this journey together and keep watching till the end, because you will be shocked at how errors, minting mistakes, and rare circumstances shaped the legacy of this legendary coin. And remember to stay tuned and like and subscribe to never miss more amazing stories like this. Now imagine for a moment the year 1998. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was striking millions upon millions of quarter dollars carrying the image of George Washington on the obverse and the traditional heraldic eagle on the reverse. And to most people these coins were everyday objects, used for vending machines, bus rides, and change at the grocery store, nothing special at all. But within that massive production there emerged a handful of mistakes so rare that they transformed a common coin into a priceless artifact, and the 1998 P quarter with error combinations became the star of this story. Now what exactly went wrong and why is it worth so much? The first type of error associated with this coin is the double die obverse, meaning the striking of the die shifted slightly, causing the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as the year 1998 to appear doubled, creating a ghost-like shadow that is unmistakable to trained eyes. Such doubling errors instantly increase the rarity and desirability of a coin, but in this particular year and mint mark, the double die was unusually bold and clear, magnifying its appeal. Another error linked to the 1998 P quarter involves off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not perfectly aligned under the press, leading to designs that appear shifted or cut off. Some examples show as much as 50% off-center, yet still with a visible date and mint mark, which is the ideal scenario collectors crave because the identity of the coin is preserved while the dramatic error is obvious. And such off-center quarters are like works of accidental abstract art stamped by the U.S. Mint, Another extraordinary mistake came in the form of planchet errors where the wrong metal blank was used. Instead of the usual copper-nickel-clad planchet for quarters, some 1998 pieces were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for dimes or foreign coins, resulting in quarters that were too light, too thin, or with odd coloration and ring tones when dropped. These wrong planchet strikes are among the rarest and most exciting errors because they prove an incredible lapse in quality control during minting, and collectors go wild for such pieces, yet the mystery deepens with reports of broad-struck quarters where the coin was struck without the collar that normally holds it in place, leading to a stretched and distorted rim making the coin appear larger than normal. These broad strikes highlight just how unpredictable the minting process can be, and when combined with a prominent mint mark like P for Philadelphia, they become even more historically significant. Now you might wonder how all these errors together can push a 25-cent piece into the multi-million-dollar territory. The answer lies in the unique convergence of rarity, demand, and the legend built around this coin. The 1998 P-era quarter has become a symbol of collecting fever, with stories circulating of collectors bidding millions to secure one of the few authenticated pieces, and auction houses showcasing these coins with staggering price tags, some even suggesting values upwards of $80 million when considering their uniqueness, provenance, and the frenzy of competitive collectors willing to pay anything to own what is essentially a piece of minting history frozen in time. And remember that in coin collecting it is not just about the physical metal content, it is about the story, the error, the accident that no one expected, and the fact that a government mint accidentally produced something so far outside of perfection makes it both ironic and thrilling. People value what was never meant to exist, and that is why errors can eclipse gold and diamonds in value. Imagine holding a small coin in your hand, lighter than a cookie, yet worth more than a private jet. That is the power of numismatics. Now let us dive deeper into the psychological and historical layers that add to the 1998 P-quarters mystique. The 1990s were a transitional period in U.S. coinage. Technology was improving, the state quarter program was just about to launch in 1999. And yet in 1998 the mint was still operating with older processes that left room for human oversight and mechanical slips, and this transitional atmosphere created fertile ground for unique errors to slip past unnoticed. Little did the mint workers know that their routine day-to-day job of striking quarters would produce anomalies that would become icons of numismatic lore, and now decades later we look back and realize how every detail mattered, how a small doubling of letters or a slightly off-center strike could change financial destinies. Another fascinating angle to this story is the way collectors and experts authenticate these coins. It is not enough for a coin to simply look different. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC meticulously examine each alleged 1998 P-era quarter under microscopes, weighing them, measuring diameters, testing metallic content, confirming die markers, and only then do they certify it as authentic. And once certified, the value skyrockets because buyers know they are not being fooled, and this process of authentication itself has added to the myth and legend of the coin, because the number of confirmed specimens is tiny, perhaps only a handful in the entire world, making them even more exclusive than some of the world's rarest diamonds, and that exclusivity is what fuels the jaw-dropping price tag. Some might ask if such a coin is truly worth $80 million. After all, it is still a quarter, but in the world of collectibles, worth is not about face value. It is about rarity, demand, history, and above all story. The narrative of the 1998 P quarter is irresistible, a government mistake turned into a priceless artifact, a coin meant to be pocket change transformed into a treasure beyond imagination, and the passion of collectors ensures that such values are not only possible but inevitable when the right coin surfaces. Now picture the ripple effect this has had: treasure hunters scouring through jars of old coins, metal detectorists searching parks and beaches, families digging through inherited coin collections hoping to stumble upon the holy grail of era quarters. The thrill of the hunt has grown because of stories like this, and it has brought entire communities together online and in person, sharing knowledge, photos, suspicions, and discoveries, creating a culture that thrives on curiosity and the possibility of striking rich. And in that sense, the 1998 P quarter is more than a coin, it is a symbol of hope and adventure, reminding everyone that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. And as we keep peeling layers, we find yet more theories about how such an error slipped through. Some suggest that mint workers might have intentionally allowed mistakes to pass as curiosities, others argue it was pure accident compounded by oversight in quality control. Either way, the result is the same, a breathtaking rarity that rewrote coin collecting history, and this makes us reflect on the nature of human imperfection, how mistakes often lead to innovation, value, and stories that outlive generations. The 1998 P quarter is a testament to the beauty of imperfection, and its journey from a misstruck blank in Philadelphia to a multi-million-dollar treasure locked in secure vaults is nothing short of legendary. Now, as we reach further into this story, let us think about the financial perspective. In a world where art pieces sell for hundreds of millions, where trading cards and NFTs capture staggering sums, it is not surprising that a coin with such history could command $80 million. Investors see it as diversification, collectors see it as legacy, museums see it as history, and everyone sees it as a marvel. And for those lucky enough to even glimpse this coin in person, it is like looking at a slice of magic, tangible proof that money can transcend its own value, that errors can be worth more than perfection, and that history lives in the tiniest details. The demand for such coins will only grow as time passes because rarity only increases with years, and future generations will continue to chase these treasures. So if you are watching this and feel inspired, go check your pocket change, your piggy banks, your inherited collection. Next, 1984 D quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to another exciting and fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins, where tiny pieces of change that many of us often overlook can turn out to be worth life-changing sums of money. And today we are focusing on one of the most intriguing and captivating stories in the history of numismatics, the incredible 1984 D quarter dollar that has shocked collectors, experts, and treasure hunters alike by being valued at a staggering $76 million. Not because of the silver content or gold plating, but purely because of its unique combination of minting errors, mistakes, and anomalies that make it one of the rarest and most desirable coins to ever come out of the Denver Mint. And as we go through this story together, you will see why a small coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents can now command the kind of value that rivals rare art, historic jewels, or even entire estates. And to understand this, we must first consider the background of the 1984 D quarter, a coin minted during a period when the United States Mint was producing billions of circulating coins annually under pressure to meet demand, which naturally increased the chances of errors slipping through the cracks. But what makes this particular piece extraordinary is that it combines several types of errors that are seldom found together, ranging from double dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, misaligned dies, die cracks, and even unusual metal compositions. And each of these by themselves could make a coin interesting to collectors, yet when you find them stacked on top of one another within a single quarter, it becomes something absolutely unparalleled. And to break it down for you, let's start with the double die obverse error, where the details on Washington's portrait, especially in the hairline, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date 1984 appear slightly doubled under magnification, an error that already makes such coins rare. Then add to this the fact that the mint mark D itself is punched in an unusual position compared to standard strikes, slightly tilted and almost touching the bust of Washington, which alone draws huge attention from variety hunters. And when you look at the reverse of this mythical 1984 D quarter, you will see another set of mistakes, with the eagle design showing signs of die deterioration doubling, its wings looking ghostly, and some letters in United States of America blurred with extra metal flow lines. But the real kicker is that the coin was struck on a planchet that itself was not of standard composition. Some experts have tested pieces like this and claim that there may be traces of silver mixed into the otherwise copper-nickel clad structure, perhaps due to leftover experimental planchets mistakenly being fed into the press, which instantly adds an aura of mystery because composition errors are among the rarest categories in numismatics. And when you combine planchet errors with die errors, alignment mistakes, and striking irregularities, you end up with a specimen that is almost one of a kind. Now imagine collectors from all over the world hearing about a coin that not only has doubling, misalignment, and metal composition questions, but also possesses strong eye appeal, minimal circulation wear, and a backstory tied to the Denver Mint of the early 1980s. And suddenly what was just pocket change transforms into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth tens of millions. And beyond the technical details, there is the psychology of rarity, because humans have always placed enormous value on things that are unique, and when we realize that only a single or perhaps just a handful of such 1984 D-era quarters exist, the demand among elite collectors skyrockets as they compete to own a tangible piece of history, and the bidding wars can push the price into astronomical ranges, and this is exactly how we arrive at that shocking valuation of $76 million, a number that might sound unbelievable until you consider how rare stamps, trading cards, or pieces of art have reached similar heights because scarcity combined with desirability creates value beyond reason. And in the case of this quarter, the story doesn't end there because experts continue to debate exactly how such a piece escaped the mint, whether it was struck during a press malfunction, or whether an experimental planchet accidentally got mixed into circulation coins, or whether multiple sets of dies were used incorrectly leading to overlapping errors, and each of these possibilities adds another layer of intrigue. For example, if it were proven that the quarter was struck on a leftover silver-clad planchet from the 1970s, it would tie the coin directly to a transitional error, one of the most sought-after categories of all time. Or if further metallurgical tests revealed it contained an unusual alloy combination, then it could rank alongside the famous wrong planchet errors that have sold for hundreds of thousands already, and then you add the perfect storm of doubled features, misaligned strike, die cracks that run across Washington's face like a scar, and suddenly you realize this coin is not just a minting error but a masterpiece of accidental artistry, a product of chance that the mint never intended yet collectors cherish beyond measure. And it makes you think how many coins we handle daily without realizing what they might be hiding, how many treasures slip through unnoticed, and how a simple 1984 D quarter sitting in someone's drawer for decades could suddenly change their life forever. And this is why so many hobbyists comb through rolls of coins from banks or flea markets searching for that jackpot, because stories like this prove it is possible. And with this 1984 D quarter, the legend has only grown as its fame spreads online, in auctions and in collector circles, making it not just a coin but a cultural symbol of hidden wealth and the endless surprises numismatics has to offer. And as we keep unraveling this story, think about the sheer improbability of such a piece surviving the minting process, escaping quality control, entering circulation, and then being discovered decades later in good condition. It is almost like winning a cosmic lottery. And that rarity is precisely why it commands not just financial value but also historical importance, because coins tell stories about the times they were made, the technology used, the mistakes tolerated, and the randomness of human oversight. And this 1984 D quarter tells us that even in an era of mass production, perfection was not guaranteed, and imperfection itself has become priceless. So whether you are a seasoned collector or a casual viewer just learning about this today, the lesson is clear that hidden gems exist in the most ordinary of places, and that pocket change can hold secrets worth millions. And that is why the 1984 D quarter, valued at $76 million, stands as one of the most fascinating tales in coin collecting history, a story that will continue to inspire treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and collectors for generations to come. And with that, keep your eyes open, check your change, share this incredible journey with friends, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries, because the world of rare coins is full of surprises waiting just for you. Last 1990 D quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to this exciting journey into the world of rare coins, where today we are going to uncover the fascinating and almost unbelievable story of the 1990 D quarter dollar that has stunned collectors, investors, and numismatists all around the world by commanding an astonishing value of $70 million. And what makes this coin so remarkable is not just its age, design, or place in American history, but the sheer number of errors, minting mistakes, anomalies, and unique striking possibilities that elevate it far beyond an ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic universe. And as we dive deeper into this story, you will come to understand why this quarter, minted in Denver in 1990, has become the subject of endless fascination, speculation, and desire. So let us begin by appreciating how such a coin could even exist, because on the surface the 1990 D quarter dollar appears to be just like millions of other Washington quarters minted in that year, with George Washington's familiar profile on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. Yet hidden within some specimens are subtle and dramatic differences, ranging from double die errors to off-center strikes, planchet flaws, metal composition anomalies, misaligned dies, filled mint marks, and even remarkable cases where design details are distorted or missing altogether. And when we talk about errors, it is important to realize that in numismatics, Errors are not flaws to be dismissed but rather rare accidents of production that can make a coin unique, desirable, and sometimes worth fortunes far beyond its face value. So imagine for a moment that a coin intended to be worth just 25 cents is suddenly elevated to a value of $70 million because of these very mistakes, and now consider how collectors view rarity. The scarcer a coin and the more dramatic its differences from standard issues, the more value it accrues. So when multiple factors combine, such as limited surviving numbers, unique minting quirks, and historical context, the result is a coin that transcends its everyday origin, and that is exactly what has happened with the 1990 D quarter, which over time has become almost mythical in its appeal. So let us break down some of the most talked about possibilities regarding this coin, starting with the double die obverse errors, where collectors have identified examples in which the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or even the date 1990 appears doubled, creating an eye-catching and highly collectible anomaly that is virtually impossible to replicate without the original minting error. And then there are the off-center strikes, some of which show Washington's portrait pushed dramatically to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal on the other, a striking mistake that instantly makes the coin stand out and drives value higher. And another intriguing variety comes from misaligned dies, where one side of the coin appears perfectly normal while the other seems rotated or shifted in ways that disturb the symmetry but add immense desirability, because no two misaligned die coins look exactly alike, making each piece a one-of-a-kind treasure. And still more fascinating are the planchet errors, where the blank metal discs used for striking are sometimes clipped, cracked, or struck on the wrong type of planchet altogether, leading to scenarios where a quarter might accidentally be struck on a dime or nickel planchet, creating an ultra-rare hybrid that collectors will pay astronomical sums to own. And when a 1990 D quarter shows any evidence of being struck on a transitional planchet or on a foreign coin blank, its value skyrockets even more. And in addition to physical minting errors, there are cases of filled mint marks where the D for Denver appears weak, missing, or completely filled with excess metal, making it look like no mint mark exists at all. And these no mint mark anomalies are hugely prized because they should not exist from the Denver Mint, and when authenticated they become among the most desirable pieces in all of numismatics. And beyond these specific errors, there is the broader narrative that 1990 was a transitional time in U.S. coinage history as the U.S. Mint was modernizing its processes, and any error from this era is especially intriguing because it represents both the legacy of traditional minting and the growing pains of modernization, and thus collectors are drawn not only to the technical errors but also to the story they tell about American coinage at that point in history. And so when you put all these factors together, double dies, off-center strikes, planchet anomalies, filled mint marks, and transitional era context, you start to see why the 1990 D quarter is not just another piece of pocket change but a legendary artifact that has been valued by some collectors and auction houses at as much as $70 million, which is a staggering figure but one that reflects both its rarity and the almost mystical allure that surrounds it, because for collectors the chase is as important as the coin itself, and the dream of finding such a quarter in everyday change is what keeps people checking their pocket money, coin rolls, and jars of old coins, hoping that lightning will strike and they will uncover a fortune. And let us not forget that with rare coins like this, provenance also matters, meaning the history of ownership and the condition in which the coin has survived play a critical role in determining ultimate value. So when a 1990 D quarter is discovered in near-perfect condition with sharp details, minimal wear, and authenticated error characteristics, its price can soar even higher, and that is how we arrive at astronomical values like $70 million, because at the top levels of numismatic collecting, wealthy investors and passionate collectors are willing to pay anything for the rarest of the rare, and thus the 1990 D quarter has become a shining symbol of how something as ordinary as a quarter can transform into an object of incredible value and desire. And this story also serves as an inspiration for everyday people because it proves that treasures might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by anyone with the curiosity to look closely. And while it might seem unbelievable that a coin meant to buy a piece of candy could now be worth more than an expensive mansion or luxury yacht, the truth is that numismatics is full of surprises, and history shows that error coins consistently attract strong demand. And as long as collectors remain captivated by the rarity and stories behind these coins, the value of a coin like the 1990 D quarter will continue to climb, and that is why we encourage all coin enthusiasts, casual hobbyists, and even beginners to pay attention to details, examine their change, learn the telltale signs of errors, and always stay curious, because who knows, you could be the next person to stumble across a 1990 quarter with the very errors that make it worth millions, and wouldn't that be life-changing? And so as we wrap this journey into the fascinating world of the 1990 quarter dollar worth an incredible $70 million, remember that coins are more than just money, they are pieces of history, art, and human error all rolled into one. And sometimes it is precisely those mistakes that make them priceless, so keep looking, keep collecting, and keep dreaming of the day you might hold one of these rare treasures in your own hand.